Hello, everyone. We are here with Mike Channon, and he is running for Muscatine County Sheriff. Hello.
Hello.
So, we're just going to get right into the questions. First question is, why are you running for Muscatine County Sheriff?
I'm running for a multitude of different reasons. I ran in 2016 on a philosophy of change. I think we need change in the sheriff's office. For the last multiple years, the sheriff's office has been going down, in a lot of people's opinion, the wrong road, the wrong path. We need change, and we need positive change. And I'm a firm believer that if you want change, you got to be that change. And whether it's um, you get some discipline or animosity from the other side, you still got to be that change, and you got to drive forward to make it better for everybody, community and employees.
Considering the Muscatine County Sheriff's Office is a large organization and interacts with many other agencies, what experience do you have to succeed in this important role?
Through the course of my 22 years career in law enforcement, I have worked with I've actually been employed by 3 different agencies, and I have worked with a multitude of different agencies around from the federal government to state entities to other local departments across the entire state. Um, so I have the experience working with other agencies. I have the mentality to sit down and we can all brainstorm together and figure out a solution to move forward, not only as a community, because Muscatine County is small in comparison to the entire state, but we can work together with other agencies to broaden and get better ideas for everybody.
What do you think are the strengths of the current department?
The men and women that wear the uniform. We have a great bunch of people working for the agency with a wealth of knowledge and experience and expertise. I think moving forward, we just need to further their training, further their education, and we have good people to continue with doing what we're doing.
What do you think are the weaknesses and how would you address them?
The weaknesses of the current administration or the current department is in the last year and a half, we've had 2 votes of no confidence, one from the sheriff's deputies, one from the correctional staff. We've had an $87,000 lawsuit filed against the county that was settled. We've also had a Prohibited Practices Act against the administration, which entails parts of the administration, a certain person of the administration went and threatened some deputies after the first vote of no confidence. That is unheard of. All those things are unprecedented. There's definitely some issues within that department, within this administration. And unfortunately, my opponent is part of this administration. We need to move forward, and discipline needs to happen with some people. But it needs to be fair and concise. And it's not, and it hasn't been. Certain people get away with certain things. They can do whatever they want, and there's no penalties whatsoever. Other individuals, doesn't matter what you do, you sneeze, you step on a crack wrong, and you're being looked at by the administration, and that is not right. Policies are there for a reason. Policies are there to apply to everybody the same way, and they're not being done that way currently.
What is the key issue facing the sheriff's office and how do you plan to address that?
And there are many key issues. I mean, you got morale, and that's a question for later. There is mental health, which is a huge problem within the community. We need to concentrate on what we are sworn to do, protect the citizens of Muscatine County. And I think we can do it better, and I think I have the plan to do it better than the way we've been doing it, whether that be putting more personnel on the streets. And what I mean by more personnel is switching up the schedule. Getting more people, because there are times within the county right now we have 2 deputies on the road for the entire county. That's unsafe for not only the citizens, but it's unsafe for the deputies as well. And then to compound that, we also have to do a lot of civil papers, which is a profit. We make money from that, and that needs to be done. That's part of our job within the state. But when we are consistently doing the civil papers and that takes time away from public safety, we're not able to go out there and investigate, look for some of the other crimes that are happening, like burglaries, some of the drug crimes, which we have a huge drug problem, which is another issue that we'll talk about later within this community. So there are a lot of things that we need to do better and improve on, and I believe I'm that candidate to move our department forward.
What is the most important skill a sheriff should have?
We wear many different hats as the sheriff. I believe you need to be a working sheriff, and that's something we haven't had in some time. And what I mean by working sheriff is you lead by example. You show up in you show up to work every day in uniform. We are no better than the employees underneath us. We are just at a higher title. We should not come in at 11 o'clock with jeans and a t-shirt or jeans and a polo. We should be in the same uniform and, again, lead by example. I'm a 14-year veteran in the United States military. Our leadership did not come in jeans and a t-shirt. Our leadership came in the same uniform. And they lead from the front, not from the rear, not from behind a desk. And that's the mentality that I will have moving forward. Communication is huge within, and transparency. Transparency is huge. That's something, both things we've been lacking. And again, my opponent says communication, he will improve communication. Here's my thought process on that, is he has been part of that administration. He is part of that administration. Why hasn't he done better with the communication? There's an issue. So you need to be able to communicate with everybody fairly, and you need to be transparent about everything. We look at the Chuck Gertz issue, the transparency with that. If everybody remembers that, there were lies told to not only the Board of Supervisors, but the public.
Employee morale is critical to the success of any organization. How do you feel about the current state of employee morale, given the tumultuous year 2020 has been, and what can be done to ensure that employees feel valued?
First and foremost, I can't wait till 2020 is over with everything that's been going on. But the morale is very, very, very low. And that is important because when you have low morale, you have high turnover. And we have had extremely alarming turnover within the last few years within the sheriff's office. And it's not only with the deputies, it's with the jail staff as well. When you have people leaving a job for smaller departments or less money, there's an issue. Why are people leaving? We've had, again, like I spoke earlier of, we've had 2 votes of no confidence, a Prohibited Practices Act. There's an issue. So, but when you bring the morale up, and there's certain steps in morale, it's free. You can bring morale up and it's entirely free, and it doesn't cost taxpayers any money. It's how you treat people. When you treat people like they should be treated fairly, you're going to boost morale. You can do certain things to boost morale. Currently, right now, the only people that have weekends off are the administration. There's ways that we can change that. We can change the schedule where we can give the option to the employees, hey, here are the 4 schedule options. Have you guys vote on them. One option would be every 4 to 6 weeks you have a weekend off, and it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's not just set for administration. You can also boost morale by having the sheriff and having his administration, which I will do, go out there on the road and be with the people, be with the men and women in uniform. Those are key things that will boost morale.
What community partnerships are you most proud of, and which would you like to see grow over your time in office?
Again, I've been a cop for 22 years. I've been in law enforcement for 22 years, and I've worked at the Wilton Police Department, the Muscatine Police Department, and the Sheriff's Office. I think there's many things that we need to do differently within the community and some of the organizations. I think we're doing a good thing with Corporal Willie Leza is doing a great thing with the Special Olympics. In fact, my wife's cousin and uncle have ran the Special Olympics for many, many years within this community. And we need to continue that. I'm a big supporter of the Special Olympics. Did the golf tournament last year, and that was the best round of golf I ever had. Not that I'm good at it, because I'm not, but it was fun.
Yep.
Watching the excitement off these athletes' faces when they hit the ball. That's great, and we need to continue with that. There are also other things, let's say the Muscatine Police Department are doing, is the Shop with a Cop. That is one thing that I want to do, and we can establish a Muscatine County Sheriff's Association and do that as well. We have a lot of community members within our community that cannot afford to put presents under the tree for their kids, put clothes on there. We need to come together as a community and a department to do that. And that's why I'm proposing also having community meetings with different communities around the area. Talk about crime trends, talk about crime prevention, talk about gun safety. I'm a huge proponent of the Second Amendment and Iowa concealed carry. Defensive tactics for women, bring that in. West Liberty is doing a great job within their community.
The topic of mental health was raised by both candidates as a critical issue facing Muscatine County. Please give us your perception of the current situation, what can be done in the Sheriff's Department, and what outside support you would enlist to address this issue.
Mental health is out of control. And it's not just in the county. It's not only in the state, it's nationally. If we want to talk about a pandemic, that's what we're talking about. Mental health we need to get a grasp on it. Otherwise, I think we're at a point where there's no coming back from it. We are dealing with, as patrol deputies, committals, mental health committals, on a pretty much a daily basis, as well as drug committals. And those two go hand in hand. Drugs and mental health go hand in hand. Drugs will enhance the mental health of some individuals. So my idea is getting a coalition of individuals. That'd be lawyers, that'd be the county attorney, that'd be doctors, nurses, psychiatrists, psychologists, all of us getting together in a roundtable discussion and figure out what programs we can do here. Incarceration does not work. It's proven. If we do certain programs, drug and mental health court, I would love to see here, and PTSD court for the veterans. And the reason it's a 73 percentile recovery rate with both narcotics and mental health instead of incarceration. We must do something different, and we must do it now.
Both candidates also listed substance abuse as a major issue facing Muscatine County. Please give us your perception of the current situation, what can be done in the Sheriff's Department, and what outside support you would enlist to address this issue.
I did undercover narcotics for many, many years, and that was one of the most rewarding positions that I've had. Loved it. It was fun, it was exciting, but it helped the community. We need to continue with and try to get more funding for our drug task force, and give them more support, because narcotics is a huge issue in Muscatine with different narcotics. Methamphetamine is huge, and now it's being imported. We're not seeing the labs that we saw 10, 15 years ago because it's all being imported from the cartels down in Mexico. We need to put a stop on that, whether that be putting a team together of interdiction. We need to work with other agencies, whether it be the State Patrol, Scott County, a coalition of people, how we can curb this, because we're not the only community that has the narcotics issues. Every community surrounding Wilton, even the smaller communities, have a huge drug problem. We have to combat that now and combat it strong, head on, and we are in a war against narcotics.
What is your opinion of the national debate about law enforcement, particularly the call to defund police?
That is the most ludicrous call I've ever heard in my life. We actually need more funding. Considering the job that our men and women in uniform do every day, and we're being hunted every single day by individuals that want to kill us. I think we are the only profession outside the military that when there's gunfire, everybody else runs away from it. We run towards it. We need more funding, and those people that I would highly recommend, those people that are calling for defunding the police, come and do a ride along with us. Come and see what we do every single day. We deal with the worst of the worst people every single day. We keep the community safe. Again, we need we need more funding, and we need funding for different specialized programs that we want to do to get us out there. It's all about communication. I think us as law enforcement has failed this public as well. I think we need to get out there and communicate with the public better than what we have been. There's some agencies across the country that do that, but there are a lot of agencies that have fell by the wayside and haven't done that, and that is a huge problem. And I think that is the main issue, is failure to communicate with society and its members.
Every department must face limited resources. How do you plan to balance fiscal responsibility and the community and staff safety?
Staff safety is the number one importance. My objective every day is every man and woman in uniform go home to their families every single day. Family is the most important thing to me. When it comes to, we have to also do and continue to do public safety, and we have to improve that than what we have been doing. With the 2020 pandemic of COVID, do I anticipate a shortfall or some hits in the budget? Absolutely. There are certain things that we can do to combat that. Currently, right now, our sheriff drives a brand new GMC truck, unmarked, wasn't a state bid vehicle. Our chief deputy drives an unstate bid vehicle. My opponent running for sheriff drives a vehicle that was not purchased under the state bid. When you can save $15,000 to $20,000 per vehicle, that's some money you can save. Why are we spending that on administration vehicles and not putting it towards patrol? We can also keep vehicles a little bit longer than what we currently are. If we're in a budget shortfall, we need to think of more conducive ways to save money than what we're doing now, and we will do that and succeed. Neither myself or my opponent have had any fiscal responsibility, or not fiscal responsibility, budgetary experience. Here's the issue with that is Muscatine County, it's great because we have what's called a budget coordinator. It's not like we're reinventing the wheel. The budget's there. So let's just move forward with it and go that way.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for answering all of our questions. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. We are back here with our next candidate. Quinn is here with us, and he's running for Muscatine County Sheriff. Hello, Quinn. How are you?
Good morning.
It is morning. So I have a few questions. We'll just kind of go through them. Each candidate gets 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer each of the questions, and then we'll move on to the next question. All right. First question. Why are you running for Muscatine County Sheriff?
So I started with the sheriff's office in 1999. I started as a courthouse bailiff, courthouse security officer. From there, I went to patrol division, K9, worked up through the ranks into investigations, which I ultimately, I run that division now. So since I've worked here, that's been one of my aspirations. That was one of the things that I told my interview panel when I first interviewed here back in the late 90s. Late 90s. So it came to fruition about a year and a half ago, talking with the sheriff. He decided that he was kicking around the idea of retiring and wanted to know if I would be interested in running for that spot. Absolutely. Again, that's been one of my dreams since I've worked here.
Awesome. Next question. Considering the Muscatine County Sheriff's Office is a large organization and interacts with many other agencies, What experience do you have to succeed in this important role?
So we have multiple different um, entities or groups that work across jurisdictional lines. We have our TAC team, it's MSORT. I'm the assistant commander of that team. We answer calls and train with officers from Wayzata County, Cedar County, Muscatine County, Muscatine PD. Up until recently, we had an officer from West Branch Police Department. We have officers from Tipton Police Department. So through that organization, we do a lot of cross-jurisdictional things. Through the dive team, I dove all over Eastern Iowa, Northern Iowa, Southern Iowa, working with different agencies, doing evidence recoveries, body recoveries, vehicle recoveries, things of that nature. So same thing with just a basic investigation. Investigations a lot of times take you across county lines, across state lines. In fact, yesterday we were in Davenport working up there till later on in the evening. So the things that we do within the office, oftentimes we're working with other agencies, not only law enforcement agencies, but other government service agencies, whether it be the DHS or community services, things of that nature.
Yeah. What do you think are the strengths of the current department?
The strength of the current department, we have an amazing staff. We have a staff of over 100. We've got 25, 26 uniform patrol guys. We've got a number of new guys, new staff, I should say, within both divisions, the patrol division, the jail division. They go out and they give it 100% every single day. So I would say our staff, and really the staff of any department, is its biggest strength. Again, we do work well with other agencies. There was a time where law enforcement didn't really work well together. It wasn't a local, it was more of a national trend. That seems to have subsided considerably, where if we're going to do something, let's do it together. We can get a lot more accomplished working as not only our team, but as a part of another team or another agency to get things accomplished. So,
What do you think are the weaknesses and how would you address those?
right now, it's one of the things that I've brought up throughout my campaign is I want to do more in-service training. You can't watch any national news syndicate nowadays without law enforcement training being brought into question. I think we can do quite a bit more in that arena, and by utilizing our own instructors for that. We've got instructors for a variety of different disciplines that we can bring staff in and get people trained up the best that we can. There's other arenas that we need to get instructors for that's not a huge deal to do. So our training and communication is areas that we need to work on. And that's one of my biggest plans.
What is the key issue facing the sheriff's office, and how do you plan to address that?
Um, the national trend of training issues, communication issues, I think those are fairly easily remedied. It'll take a little bit of work, but that's things that we can do, that we should be doing. So doing things to better our own house, also dealing with issues in the community, in the county, and we're not alone in this matter, but the current drug trends that affect the entire United States, what other crimes spin off from those addictions are something that we deal with on a daily basis.
What is the most important skill a sheriff should have?
Communication. That's an easy answer. A lot can be solved by just basic communication, not only with working with a suspect or working with an employee, being able to communicate your thoughts, listen to their thoughts, and find a agreeable middle ground. I've met with a group here in town a handful of times, and that's kind of been our goal, is to find a middle ground that we need to change. Maybe some of the things that we do or the way that we do them. Other groups need to change a little bit. There's got to be a happy medium in there somewhere.
Employee morale is critical to the success of any organization. How do you feel about the current state of employee morale given the Multisyr of 2020, and what can be done to ensure that employees feel valued?
It has been a very difficult year, and we're certainly not alone in that. I mean, it's affected private sector businesses, government sector. The ability to, again, communicate with staff, give them the opportunity to vent their concerns, come up with new ideas. The idea that the boss knows best. Maybe years ago, maybe that was a thing, but to value the staff's ideas. We've, on a handful of times, we've had staff come in and say, how about we do it this way? That will cure X, Y, and Z. Or that's worth looking at. So it's got to be a two-way street. And again, finding that middle ground, finding something that both sides can live with, and moving forward.
What community partnerships are you most proud of, and which would you like to see grow over time in your office?
The sheriff's office over the years has been helping a number of different organizations. Violet Warner does a toy drive every Christmas season. We've been part of that for many years. The Special Olympics program, I've been involved with them for almost 20 years. My first year here, I got in on the bike ride to Iowa City. After a few years, I ended up taking the torch run project over. I ran it for a number of years. Willie Leza, one of our staff, is running it now and has done phenomenal with it. We just gave a check to the Special Olympics a couple weeks ago for $9,000. Those funds were raised through merchandise sales and donations for the law enforcement torch run. We do things with the senior resources. We just completed the Day of Caring event last week. So we're out in the community quite a bit. It gives the guys, or gives our staff a little bit of a break and some time to get out and enjoy themselves working on a project, or riding the Lone Tree, or doing the Christmas baskets for senior resources. It's beneficial to me personally, and it also helps out in the department.
The topic of mental health was raised by both candidates as a critical issue facing Muscatine County. Please give us your perception of the current situation, what can be done in the Sheriff's Department, and what outside support you would enlist to address this issue.
The topic of mental health has been around for some time. The spin-offs from that issue are drug abuse, the associated criminal activity with that. So there's no clear answer. The Board of Supervisors attempted to move mental health regions several months ago. Ultimately, I believe we're back with the Scott County region. One of the issues that we have currently is, along the lines of mental health, is the committal process. That's changed a handful of times over the past few months. Ultimately, when that process goes through, we drive the person to a facility that has agreed to take them. That facility could be as far away as the western edge of Iowa. And so we do that, we make that run pretty regularly. The community services has done a good job helping out. If we have a concern, if we have repeated calls to an address, something along those natures, and there's maybe a mental health concern, community services has been great to deal with and helping us out through those. There's also
Okay. Both candidates also listed substance abuse as a major issue facing Muscatine County. Please give us your perception of the current situation, what can be done in the Sheriff's Department, and what outside support you would enlist to address this issue.
Again, substance abuse goes hand in hand with mental health issues, associated crimes. Right now, we have a very active drug task force that works in the county. They work very closely with officers from both Cedar and Louisa counties. They're busy all the time. The cases that they generate often go to federal court, but it seems it's like playing a game of whack-a-mole. Get one down, the next one comes up. I don't know what the answer is. We've been fighting this battle for decades.
What is your opinion of the national debate about law enforcement, particularly the call to defund police?
That idea came out of the issues in Minneapolis, some time ago. I think that's absolutely the wrong idea. I think a lot of our community think that's the wrong idea. I don't know with the community that we have here in Muscatine County, with the law enforcement officers that we have working throughout the county, not only the Sheriff's Office and the Police Department, but the other outlying departments, Wilton and West Liberty. I hope that will never be an issue here in the county, because law enforcement truly does stand as that line between anarchy and normalcy. Well,
every department must face limited resources. How do you plan to balance the fiscal responsibility and the community and staff safety?
The financial status of the Sheriff's Office right now is the best that it's ever been. We operate under a $9 million budget between the jail division and patrol division, with housing revenues for housing federal inmates, Johnson County, other associated counties, bond revenues, and also return budget from last year brought us in right around $7 million back into the county. So essentially cost the taxpayers $2 million to run a $9 million operation. So the fiscal responsibility of the office right now is the best it's been in history. There always is that threat of economic downturn, things of that nature that's going to affect that. We've gone through downturns in the past. We've gone through high fuel prices, fuel crunches, 0% raises across the board for staff. We've gone through those times before, and we've rolled with the punches, and we're still here today, and we'll still be here tomorrow.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today and answering all the questions that we had. We appreciate it, and good luck with the rest of your campaign.